The title of this podcast is You're Fine, I'm Fine. Oftentimes people will comment on like how I seem to always show up consistently, like nothing bothers me. And to get to that place, I had to work on myself quite a bit. And I've come up with a few things to help me calm down my very troubled mind. And when I say a troubled mind, what I mean is judging everything, complaining about everything, needing life to be a certain way for me to be okay. It's the same thing with my heart. When my heart gets hurt, feeling like there's that I can't go on, or this is the end of the world, feeling sadness, loss, whatever the case may be. What I've done is I've really made a concerted effort to train my mind. But even before that, I came to a really big distinction that I'm not my mind, that I'm not my heart. I am the being behind both the mind and the heart that observe what they're going through. And thankfully so that that's the case because that's my way out. Have you ever been in a situation where your mind tells you, hey, someone said something and you say, I'm not going to take that, or you shouldn't take that, or you feel defensive. If you're feeling defensive, then that means you're completely identified with your mind. If you're able to step back and say that, oh, I'm feeling defensive, or my mind is feeling defensive, then there's a little bit of separation between the two, and that's your way out of that situation. And what I found is that when I can do that, I don't make the situation worse than it is. And most times it's because I have taken something personal, whether it's something that I wanted and didn't get, something that I wanted differently than the reality of what it really is. Whatever the case may be, I'm the one who's sitting behind the mind's reactivity. And if I can maintain awareness that that's what's happening, then that's my way out. I can choose a different pay. I can choose a different path. And the path that I'm interested in is the path that leads to peace. The same thing has to go with my heart. If I can feel my heart feeling jealous, if I can notice it feeling jealousy, if I can notice it feeling hurt, if I can notice the insecurity that can sometimes hit it, then the noticing creates just enough space so that I can make a different choice, and then I can give my heart some grace, meet it with compassion. And in that case, I can tell it, you're fine. You're fine. So the way I want you to think about this, and like I said, over the years, I've given myself little things to say that help me deal with these default settings of my mind. So for example, the judging part or the complaining part. When something happens a long time ago, I would tell myself, no comment. My mind would want to judge, would want to say something, have a reaction, whether it's who people voted for, what their political leanings are, who they support, what their beliefs are, uh, what they're wearing, what they should be wearing, what they're saying, or how they should be saying it. Whatever the case is, whenever I would find myself judging or my mind about to judge or complain something, I would say no comment. And it would bring me back to the present moment to understand that I have a choice of how to be in that moment. And when I did that, it brought me peace. So most recently, I was listening to Michael Singer and he said something and he said, you're fine. And that took me back to what a parent would say to a child who was sleeping in a separate room, and the child would wake up screaming from having a nightmare. And the parents would get up, rush in, comfort the child, and they would just say, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And I think about when I was learning how to swim. I had some very touch and go moments there because I had all this anxiety and fear over the water, or at least my mind did. At that time, I didn't have a practice or the language for this. So I was completely identified with that fear. And people would come out to literally rescue me in the lake. And they would say, Keith, okay, you're okay, you're okay. You're fine, you're fine. And that would comfort me. And so what I've learned to, thanks to Michael Singer, to say to my troubled mind, to my mind that needs to be a certain way for me to be okay inside, I would say to it, or I encourage you to say to it, you're fine, you're fine. And before long, that's going to become, I'm fine, I'm fine. And when you do that, that becomes peace, starts rushing in, and you experience inner peace. So imagine yourself being in a meeting at work, And what is unfolding is not what you want to be unfolding. Your mind is going to have something to say about it. And what you tell your mind is, you're fine, you're fine. And that will soon become, I'm fine. Let's say that you have a significant other who, for whatever reason, you're insecure. They're very attractive, or they're very accomplished. You have insecurity about them being around other people. Now, what most people will do is they will either punish the partner by um, by expressing the insecurity about, you shouldn't be wearing this. Why should you be going there? You should only go there when we're together. All those things, or they would do the exact opposite, which is still the same thing, because it is putting what you think you need, or the control of the other person, so that you feel okay inside. And that other thing might be that you withhold affection, you withhold love from the other person. And that way you feel like you're protecting yourself from getting deeper into the connection or the relationship, so that you can get hurt. Either way, both of them are not great. They're really not good. And so you continue to carry this part of you into every other relationship if that one doesn't make it. But instead, when you feel those things happen, that need to control, that insecurity comes up, what you tell the mind, the heart, you're fine, you're fine. And that will become, I'm fine. If whether you're on a pickleball court and you all in your head beating yourself up, you tell your mind, you're fine, you're fine, I'm fine. And when you do that, what you'll find is you'll have a better time on the court. You have a better experience in the meetings, and you'll be able to contribute instead of shutting down. And relationships, instead of being there to take, you'll be there to give. So consider another little tactic to deal with the default settings of both the mind and the heart is just saying to yourself, you're fine, you're fine, I'm fine.